Ganga Charanenu Purvaje Preme Dhola Dhola Shonayanga Charanenu Purvaje Mukunda Madhava Jadhava Hari Bole na bole re badana bori
Mukunda Madhava Jadava Hari Bole na bolo re
badana bori Miche nida boshe gelore rati Divasha sharira saje
Niche ninda
boshe
gelore rati
Divasha
sharira saje
Emona dulabha manav deha Paya ki karo bhavana keha
Emon Durlabha
Manav deha Paya ki karo bhavana keha Ebe na bhajile Jashoda Sutta Charame padivilaje
Ebe na bajile Yasoda Sutta Charame puri velaje
Udita tapana hoile asta Dina gelo bole hoy bebiasta
Udite tapana hoile asta
Dina
Dinagele
gelo
boli
hoy
hoile asta
Abe keno ebe alasa hoy na bhajahri doyaraje
Tabe ke no yebe alasa hoye na bhaje hirdaraje
Jivan anitya janahasar tahe nana vidha vipadavar
जीवन अनित्य जनहसा ताहे नाना विध विपद भार
namashraya kori jatane tumi takaha apanakaje
नाम श्रया करी जातने तुम्हें ताका अपन काजे
Jivera kalyana sadhanakam Jagate ashye madhurnam
जीवे रे कल्याण
sadhanakam
जगते आसिये मधुर नाम
avidyatimira tapana rupe Kridgagane viraje
अविद्यासिये मधुर
tapana
नाम
Kridgagane
अविद्यासिये
viraje Krishna nam Shudha Koryapan Juda Bhakti Vinod Pran
कृष्ण नाम सुधा करियो पान
Juda
जुड़ाओ
Bhakti
भक्ति विनोद
Vinod
प्राण
Nama bina kichu nahi ko ar, chauda bhuvan maje.
नाम बिना किछु नाही को तारो
Chauda
भुवन मांजे
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribrajak Acharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Shami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai.
जय
Ananta Koti Vaishnavrind Ki Jai.
जय
ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
जय
Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai.
जय
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाशरि गौर भक्ति वृंद की जय.
जय
श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय.
जय
वृंदावन धाम की जय.
जय
नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय.
जय
गंगा माई की जय.
जय
जमुना माई की जय.
जय
तुलसी देवी की जय.
जय
भक्ति देवी की जय.
जय
श्रमवेता भक्त वृंद की जय.
जय
गौर प्रेमानंदे.
हरि हरि
All glories to the assembled devotees.
हरे कृष्ण
All glories to the assembled devotees.
हरे
Hare
कृष्ण
Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
हरे कृष्ण
All glory to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga Hari Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutare Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shami Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
जय चंद्र जय गोविंद
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
जय
Jai Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
जय
Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
जय जय
Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai
नित्यानंद
Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
जय दत्त चंद्र जय भक्त बिंद
We're reading in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 20, text 243. Is it?
44.
44, okay, 44.
শঙ্কর্ষণ মৎস্যাদিক দুই ভেদ তার শঙ্কর্ষণ মৎস্যাদিক দুই ভেদ তার শঙ্কর্ষণ পুরুষাবতার লীলাবতার আর
There's some noise, I don't know, background noise. There. The first personal expansion is Sankarshan, and the others are incarnations like the fifth incarnation. Sankarshan is an expansion of the Purusha or Vishnu. The incarnations such as Matsya, the fish incarnation, appear in different yugas for specific pastimes. Purport. The Purusha avatars are the lords of the universal creation. These are Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Kirodakshaya Vishnu. There are also Leela avatars, and these include Chatushan. You know who Chatushan is? The four Kumaras there, yeah. Narad, Varaha, Matsya, Jagya, Naranarayan, Kardama Kapila, Dattatreya, Hayashirsha, Hamsa, Dhruva Priya or Prishnigarbha, Rishabha, Pitu, Nrisingha, Kurma, Dhanvantari, Mohini, Vaman, Bhargava Parshuram, Raghavendra, Vyas, Pralambari Balaram, Pralambari Balaram, Krishna, Buddha, and Kalki. These 25 personalities of Godhead are known as Lila avatars because they appear in each day of Brahma or in each Kalpa millennium. They are sometimes known as Kalpa avatars. Of these incarnations, Hamsa and Mohini are not very permanent or well known, but they, does it say that so? Yeah, permanent, okay. I was thinking the word would be prominent, but okay. But they are listed among the Prabhava avatars. Kapila, Dattatreya, Brishab, Dhanvantari, and Vyas are eternally situated and very widely known. They are also counted among the Prabhava incarnations. Kurma, Matsya, Narayan, Varaha, Hayagriva, Prishnigarbha, and Baladev, the killer of Pralambasura, are counted among the Vaibhava avatars.
অবতার হয় কৃষ্ণ
I was going to say a few things.
sorry.
Thank you. That's sorry.
Can
So, in the Dash Avatar Stotra by Jayadev Goswami, we hear about how many avatars there?
10.
10, yeah. See, here we have 25. And the purport Prabhupada says that these 25 appear in every day they're coming, every day of Brahma. So which is it? Is it 10 or is it 25? What?
10 are important one, but they are 25.
Yeah, actually, the verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam is that there are unlimited avatars, just like the waves of the ocean. How will you count how many waves there are? So as you said, there are some who are prominent and some are less prominent, but there are so many avatars that it's impossible to count. And there's a method, there's different methods to categorize the avatars, and those categories are not mutually exclusive. For example, a Leela avatar can also be a Yuga avatar. For example, when Lord Chaitanya appeared, he appeared for different purposes. One of the purposes was he wanted to better understand the devotion and love that Srimati Radharani had for Krishna and other things in that realm. And at the same time, it was the time for the Yuga avatar to appear. So those two things coincided, and he appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So these avatars are not, those categories of avatars are not necessarily exclusive. And you see in this list also that some of these Leela avatars are living entities. For example, Narad Muni and the 4 Kumars. There we're talking, those are called Shaktyavesh avatars. They're living entities that are empowered with the potency of God, although they are not Purna Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, with all six opulences. So even though they're Leela avatars, still they're not all the Supreme Personality of Godhead fully, and some of them are, like Lord Nrsimha here, and Raghavendra. Raghavendra means
Lord Rama.
Ramchandra. Yeah. So we have to be a little bit flexible and understand Pralambari Balaram, the first expansion of Lord Krishna. So this is all quite variegated. In the spiritual world, there's variety, and that some of that variety is also there in the material world. When Krishna comes, he brings a large variety of avatars, to all for the purpose of in the material world, paritranaya sadhunam ashrayata duskritam, dharma sansthapanartha. So this part of the Chaitanya Charitamrita that we're reading is a further explanation of that verse in the Bhagavad Gita. As Prabhupada said, that Bhagavad Gita is ABC, Srimad Bhagavatam is graduate study, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is postgraduate. So these things are, this is a very elevated subject matter, but we're trying to understand, and these informations are given here. It was very nice. Questions or comments here?
What is the difference between expansion and avatara?
Well, technically, an avatar means someone who descends from the spiritual world to the material world. Sometimes it's avatar comes one from Tara. It's coming down from the higher position to a lower position.
Okay.
And expansion it doesn't have to come into the material world at all. There are many expansions of Lord Vishnu that are there in the Vaikuntha, but not necessarily appear here.
Thank you, Prabhu. This is amazing words. One thing is, I'm surprised to see all these forms Prabhupada writes as a Leela avatar, actually. That is, then they come in every kalpa, right?
Yeah.
If I read it correctly, the kalpa. So when they come in every kalpa, it's not just once in kalpa. Looks like Krishna comes only once in kalpa. Krishna is not here, right?
You broke up. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I say Krishna comes once in a kalpa, right?
Yeah.
But Krishna's name is here. I don't see here.
We don't see Krishna's name. Yeah, it is 23. Krishna.
Is there? Okay,
23.
good.
Krishna.
Okay, and then all other personalities. I'm really surprised that they are mentioned as Leela avatars, even though they are avatars. Leela avatars they are mentioned. I was only thinking Ram and Krishna and some other personality, but they come repeatedly. They can come in different yugas.
Yes. So that they come, the fact that they said that they appear, at least they're appearing once in the day of Brahma, at least once. Once.
Right. Yeah.
Some may, like Lord Ramchandra, appears more than once in the same day of Brahma.
Yes.
And in the day of Brahma, there's 14 Manvantara. How long is the day of Brahma?
4
Is it 4,320,000,000 years, isn't it?
Yeah,
1,000 ages taken together. So 4,320,000 years is the Chatur Yuga, the 4 ages, times 1,000. So it's 4 billion. So, They're spaced out there. Okay. Did that? You had other things to say, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu?
I think there's a lot to discuss on this, but it's okay. We can go further. But it's amazing to see that while it is speaking in the Kalpa, still the Hamsa avatar and who is the other avatar is not very prominent. See, so from here I feel like okay, Hamsa avatar. What is the other one?
Mohini.
Mohini.
Mohan is not prominent. They are saying maybe it means they are not really scheduled, but as per the requirement they manifest. That's what I understand. But all other incarnations are required for as a lila, as a uplifting the living entities, as a scheduled incarnation appears like Narad. The personality of Narad has to be there for every kalpa, because otherwise devotion will not be. Another thing I wanted to say, because they are Saktyaves Avatara, you please correct me on this. So my understanding is that when all other Leela avatars who are not Vishnu expansions, who are the living entities and the Saktyaves Avatara, so the personality may be repeating, but the living entity may be changing every color. Did I make any sense? Like,
Yeah, just like Lord Brahma is a guna avatar. We'll read later that he is the incarnation of the Rajogun, and usually he's a living entity. Not always. Lord Krishna has a lot of flexibility. Sometimes he takes over if he doesn't find a good living entity to take the place of Brahma. But generally, Lord Brahma is a living entity, but he's not always the same living entity. That's what you're saying, correct?
yes, example that, and Narada also throughout the Bhagavatam it mentions of Narada. I was thinking, because Narada appeared in different kalpa, and Bhagavatam explains about other kalpas Narada. So Narada as a personality, as a figure, which pure in personification of pure devotional service, can incarnate as different personalities. Different living entity can incarnate as Narada. Right?
I don't know that one. I mean, that would be. I've never read that. Certainly, in theory, it might be true, but I've never read that from Srila Prabhupada or any Acharya commentary, so I can't comment on that.
Yeah, I felt that because I don't know. That's what I've been taking like that way, because Swayambhava Manu, during Swayambhava Manu, Narada is there. Other kalpas, Narada is there. So because isn't it? It covers different kalpas also, Srimad Bhagavatam.
Well, you know that in the as you know in the description, when Narada is telling Vyasa about his previous life, he entered into the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and came out during this day of Brahma. So he was present in previous days of Brahma also.
Right. In previous day of Brahma, this living entity as a jiva, as a Narada was there, but Narada as a person who was rendering the service of an Narada Muni was a different personality during that kalpa.
I don't know that. So that's something we can look into, but I can't confirm or deny that.
Okay, yeah. Simple.
Okay. Thank you. Next verse.
অবতার হয় কৃষ্ণের ষড়বিধ প্রকার, পুরুষাবতার এক, লীলাবতার আর।
There are 6 types of incarnations, avatars of Krishna. One is the incarnations of Vishnu, and another comprises the incarnations meant for the performance of pastimes, lila avatars.
গুণাবতার আর বন্তরাবতার, যুগাবতার আর সপ্তাবেশ অবতার।
There are incarnations that control the material qualities, gun avatars. Incarnations who appear in the reign of each Manu, Manvantara avatars. Incarnations in different millenniums, Yuga avatars, and incarnations of empowered living entities, Shaktavesh avatars. So, did you get the six? What are the? These are the basic 6 kinds of avatars. Who can name all 6?
You can try.
Go ahead.
Guna,
Gunavatar.
Leela avatar, Manvantar avatar,
The avatars.
Purush avatar,
Satyavesh.
Satyavesh avatar, Purush, Leela, Manvantar, Satyavesh,
Yeah, Purush avatar, Leela avatar.
Leela avatar.
Yes. Good. Purport. The Guna avatars are 3: Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. Bhagavatam 10:88-3. The avatars of Manu, the avatars who are known in the reign of each Manu, known as Manvantara avatars, are listed as follows in Srimad Bhagavatam, chapters 1, 5, and 13. Jagya, Vibhu, Satyasen, Hari, Vaikunta, Ajita, Vamana, Sarvabhauma, Rishabha, Vishwaksena, Dharmasetu, Sudharma, Yogeshwara, and Brihad Bhanu. Altogether, these are 14 in number, and of these, both Jagya and Vamana are also counted among the Leela avatars. Since I was saying that they're not exclusive. All these Manu incarnations are sometimes called Vaibhava avatars. The 4 Yuga avatars are 1. Shukla in Satya Yuga, 2. Rakta, red in Treta Yuga, 3. Shyama, dark blue in Dvapara Yuga, and 4. Generally Krishna, black, but in special cases Pita, yellow, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Kali Yuga, Bhagavatam 11.5.32 and 10.8.13. The Shaktivesh avatar is categorized into 1. Forms of divine absorption, Bhagavat Avesha, like Kapila Dev or Rishabh Dev, and 2. Divinely empowered forms, Shaktivesh, or of whom there are 7. 1. Shesha, Nag, in the Vaikuntha world, empowered for the personal service of the Supreme Lord, Sva Shevana Shakti. 2. Ananta Dev, empowered to bear all the planets within the universe, Bhudharana Shakti. 3. Lord Brahma, empowered with the energy to create the cosmic manifestation, Shrishti Shakti. 4. Chatushan, or the Kumaras, specifically empowered to distribute transcendental knowledge, Jnana Shakti. 5. Narad Muni, empowered to distribute devotional service, Bhakti Shakti. 6. Maharaj Prithu, specifically empowered to rule and maintain the living entities, Palana Shakti. And 7. Parashuram, specifically empowered to cut down rogues and demons, Dushta Damana Shakti. questions or comments about this?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have a question.
Yeah.
I have heard that Brahma's position is like a post. So there is certain qualification that if someone can attend, you can become Brahma. Have you heard that?
Yes.
So then here is saying that is an avatar. So then how could that be?
Yes, he's a living entity that's empowered by Krishna with Shrishti Shakti. So that's a kind of avatar. Shakti Avesh. I mean, here we're saying that Shakti Avesh is often referred to as a living entity that's empowered with the potency of God, but is not God. But in some of these Shakti Avesh avatars, they are also the Supreme Personality of Godhead, though. So, I'm a little unclear about that. But generally, Shakti Avesh you think of as a living entity who is empowered with certain Shakti of God.
Yes, that's the bewildering this verse to me. So here Anantadeva and Sesanaga also referred as Sakyaves avatar in category, even though it says that empowered for the Swasevana Sakti and empowered to bear all the planets within the universe. It's amazing how they're using the Sakyavesa, how it's coming as Sakyavesa avatar, but that the Vishnu Tattvas.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's other places where the expansion of Krishna or the Anantadeva, who in the material world holds the planets, maintains the orbit of the planets and the planets on the heads, is not Vishnu Tattva, but is Jiva Tattva. But in the spiritual world, he's Vishnu Tattva.
So in the material world, it is Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, you're saying?
The specific being who holds the planets on his head.
But that's the Ananta says, whose Garvadaksha Vishnu is resting, right? That's the one.
No, I don't know if they're the same. I don't know that the same. There's a.
I think Bhagavatam explains how he's holding like a mustard seed on his hood.
Okay.
But
one of these things are a little bit complex, and we're going to get to we're going to get to a principle that'll help us unravel some of them. Here we have there's all these spiritual transcendental ideas, and because we're not very spiritually advanced, they seem confusing to us, at least to me anyway. It's something like the Vedas say that the stool of an animal is contaminated, but at the same time the stool of a cow is pure. Well, hey, what is it? This is a contradiction. This is a contradiction. The Vedas say the bone of an animal or bone of a dead being is impure, but we take the conch shell and put it on the altar, and people worship what is that? Lakshmi conch, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bone of an animal. So they're both correct. It seems contradictory, but somehow they're both correct. So if we go on hearing, we may not understand right now, but there is an understanding. I can't help too much with that, overall understanding, but that's how it is.
Similarly, honey also, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Honey.
Go ahead, say.
Similarly, like you gave example, like the urine of the cow or dung of the cow and the bones like the concept. Similarly, honey is also pure, but it is the vomiting of the bees. So
yes, yeah. Good point. You know, we not on our level, we meant be able to see how it all fits together. It's like, what are those Rubik's cubes? Rubik's cubes. Do you ever have a Rubik's cube? Do you ever try one of those? Do you ever solve it?
No,
Never.
never.
I have tried, I never did.
Okay, so you know, you can solve it. You can solve it. Some people, you know, you make the effort, but you know, I give up. It's just too much. But you know, some people actually, I've heard that some people solve it. Similarly, I mean, this information, it's cohesive and consistent. But from our position, it's sometimes a little difficult. So then, you know, the Rubik's Cube people do it by trial and error, and but for our from our position, how will we be able to put it all together? By increasing our devotional service and our Krishna consciousness, then we'll be able to put it together. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
One small thing, Prabhuji, like for Yuga Avatar, the second paragraph, the second part, Rakta, red in Treta Yuga. So Lord Rama, sometime Lord Rama, it gives he was in green in color. Is it?
Yes. So it's a good point you're pointing out. So in this case, the Yuga avatar of Jagya is not the same as the Leela avatar who appeared there as Lord Ramchandra. So apparently Lord Ramchandra was not especially focused on implementing Yuga Dharma. So there's a brief description of the incarnation of Jagya, who with red, and he appears with 4 hands, and in his hands he's got the different things, like there's different parts, instruments that you use for the fire sacrifice. You know, the spoon to pour the ghee, and so that's what he has in his hands, this Yagya incarnation. But he's different than the Leela avatar of Lord Ramchandra.
Okay.
And it's interesting also that Lord Ram, this particular 4 yugas of Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali that we're going through in this particular Divya Yuga is an anomaly. Usually it's Satya, Dvapara, Treta, and Kali.
Yeah.
So Lord Ramchandra often appears in Dvapara, but this time he appeared in Treta because it was the second. There's a bunch of reasons, but it's because it's the second, and Dvapara is usually the second of the 4 ages. All these things going on.
And I have always heard of Anantasesha. So is Seshanag and Anantadev 2 different?
They're both used. Those names are used for both.
They're useful.
Prabhu, I have a question. You had mentioned about the yugas, being flipped in this cycle. I actually didn't know that. That's very interesting. Is there any information on why that happened?
Yes, there is, and I don't remember it right now. I was reading it. There was something of Vashishta Muni. But I can find that and let you know, but I don't remember it right now. I'm sorry. Good question.
Thank you. Can I also ask another kind of clarifying question on all of this?
Yeah.
So I'm just, wrapping my head around all of this, these different avatars. So each set of avatars, like the Guna avatar, the Manvantar avatar, Yuga avatar, Shaktivesh avatar, Leela avatar, and I think I'm missing one, but they have their different purposes. So it's kind of like each of the appearances of these avatars for this specific purpose. They're coming to, like you said, establish the Yuga Dharma, the Shakti Vaishya avatars, they are living entities that are empowered to do a specific thing. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then the Manvantara avatars, they appear in each of the different cycles of the Manvantara. So can you explain that one? Actually, I'm not.
Yeah. in the day of Brahma, there's 14 Manus.
Manus, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so part of Manu's job is to establish moral and dharmic principles for man. So therefore you have the book is there called the Manu Samhita, that these are just general rules of religion that are given. And so that Manu rules for that whole Manvantara, which is like 71 yuga cycles, I think. So in that Manu, just like Krishna Kirtan Prabhu was saying, that Manu is a different living entity every time. So the first Manu in this day of Brahma was Swayambhuva Manu. And Swayambhuva Manu was directly the son of Lord Brahma, and his daughter was Devahuti, who was the mother of Kapila Muni. Kapila, yeah. But right now, this current Manu is named, is Vaivasvata Manu, means he's the son of the sun god, Vivasvan. So different Manus, different people and different Manvantaras take that position. And they rule for the whole Manvantara. They're not living on this planet, usually.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Shall we do one more verse, and then the verse after that has a big purport, so then we can finish one verse and then we'll say, we got a lot to think about, huh?
Yeah.
বাল্য পৌগণ্ড হয় বিগ্রহের ধর্ম, এত রূপে লীলা করেন ব্রজেন্দ্র নন্দন.
Childhood and boyhood are the typical ages of the deity. Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, performed his pastimes as a child and as a boy. Okay. Thank you very much, all you Prabhus, for your kind attention and on this topic. We'll pray to Lord Chaitanya to give us understanding and realization as we perform our devotional service. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namaha.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.